Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 5 of the TrakRacer Proto-GT Challenge Series brought to you by v8sonline. I am your host, Daniel Bryant, and with me tonight, Clayton Brooks. Brooksy, how are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Daniel. Good to be back, mate. Looking forward to tonight's racing.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be a very, very interesting race. We're here tonight at Virginia International Raceway. We saw a really, really good last race there at Silverstone. This is going to be a bit more tight and a little bit more difficult. Very narrow track. These guys are going to have to be patient to get around. It's definitely going to be very interesting.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Virginia's has got a nice long straight, but that first couple of sectors, it's the faster cars are just going to be patient. I think it's pretty narrow. Yeah, so they're just going to have to be patient and bide their time. Otherwise, there's going to be quite a few mowing the grass.
Yeah, definitely. I think we might see some interesting things for this race. Very hard to get around someone, and yeah, it's pretty much going to come down to patience. But once we're past this race, we're going to move into some really interesting stuff. I think a really important part here with Interlagos next week, then to Montreal, and then to Spa, which I think is going to bring out some of the best racing.
Oh, definitely. Interlagos, the V8s are there this week. Awesome track. Current Formula One track like Silverstone was last week, and then Montreal. That's just one of the drivers' favourites. And of course, Spa. That's just Spa's up there with the Bathurst of the world, isn't it? It's just one of the great tracks. Anyone likes to race on that.
Yeah, definitely up there as one of the big ones. I think once we end up with Nordschleife and Le Mans on the iRacing service, then I think we'll have all Big Four.
Yeah, I can't wait for that day. Do you know something I don't know, Daniel? Or
I wish. I'm sure they get lots of emails about those two tracks, and I think there would be a lot of people that would pay a lot of money to see those two on the iRacing service.
Yeah, that's for sure. We've got the top 10 in the standings up at the moment for the HBDs. This is, of course, Australia-New Zealand standings. We've got Anthony Kernich coming off that terrific win last week. He's leading with Paul Agnew in second, Gavin Barber in third, Steve Honan in fourth, Daniel Benfield in fifth, Gary Cousins sixth. In seventh, we got Kane, I'm going to get this wrong, Kugimiya. In 8th, Ben Darley, 9th, Robert Swaley, and 10th, Neil De Bruin.
Yeah, and over in the GT1s with the Corvette, we got in first Charles Ng, who's had some really consistent rounds. Second, Tony Autridge. Third, Aaron Reed. Fourth, Jason Scully. Fifth, Wayne C. Burke. Sixth, Lindsay Barry. Seventh, Bruce DeCavallo. 8th, Jake Burton. 9th, Leo Gray. And 10, Tim Foltz.
Yeah, and then over into the GT2, the 4 GTs, we got Nathan Grouden sitting in first, Jason Mizzy in second, Dwayne Burns in third, Josh Muggleton, who's going to miss a couple of rounds. He got married yesterday, so congrats to Muggo on that. He's in fourth, Andrew Wren in fifth, Michael Fisher in sixth, John Emerson in seventh, Paul Longren in eighth, ninth is Matthew Paetner, and 10th, Benjamin Rigby.
Yeah, and a big congratulations to Josh Muggleton for finally deciding to tie the knot. And he's going to miss a few rounds, but I suppose that comes first.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing, obviously, but no, all seriousness, no, Josh, and congratulations to him. I'm sure he's just started another trek in his life, which he'll be happy about.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got the track preview up. We've got 20 turns, 5.2 kilometres here at Virginia. It's a sort of a track that, until Bathurst come out on iRacing, most liked it to Bathurst in a sort of similar, the layout, the undulations, and the long straights on it, Daniel.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people really like the difficulty that comes with this track. But in saying that, for multi-class racing, it's where it's going to get really interesting. Because how tight it actually is. And we probably see a few of those same incidents that we saw at Bathurst as well, how hard it is to get around in those tighter parts of the track.
Yeah, that's what we mentioned. It's just got to be so patient. It's once these drivers sort of figure it out, we'll have to see some really good racing, I'm sure.
Just have a quick look over. A fair few guys it looks like out in the prototype for this one. We'll just quickly run through that grid. A few internationals. In first, Tomasao Kala. Second, Simone Montaldo. Third, David Chen. Fourth, Steve Hoonan. Fifth, Kane Kugimiya. Sixth, Anton Volandine. Seventh, Ben Miles. Eighth, Dean O'Brien. Ninth, Fabio Milani. 10th, Reese Gardner. 11th, Gavin Barber. 12th, Paul Agnew. 13th, Jeremy Washington. 14th, Usnu Guven. 15th, Paul Mansell. 16th, TJ Brown. 17th, Craig Dorr. And 18th, Ben Darley.
You did well, Daniel. Done real well, mate.
It's hard. Some of those international guys.
Yeah, well, we got the GT1s up. We got Florian Denard on pole ahead of Jake Burton. Tony Autridge in third. Charles NG in fourth. Duka Siavidati, I'm going just as good as you, Daniel, in fifth. Jason Scully in sixth. Leo Gray in seventh. Mark Peter Dean in eighth. This is going to bring us up. Bronislav Robotnik in ninth, and Timothy Ballinger in 10th. And 11th we got John M. Sullivan, 12th Jason Scandalara, 13th Matthew Burnett, 14th Bruce DiCavallo, and 15th Tim Foltz.
And this is not getting any easier in the Ford GTs. Anyone, if we've butchered your name, send us a hate mail to v8sonline@gmail.com and address it to Sebastian. So in the GT2s, we have in first, Saba Volker Jr. In second, Fabio Gonzalez. Third, Stefano Gurali. Fourth, Andrew Wren. Fifth, Dane Burns. Sixth, Nathan Grouden. Seventh, Bob Van Catwick. Eighth, Maurizio McConey. Ninth, Matt Emanuel. And 10th, Kevin J. O'Brien. Massive HBD grid out there tonight.
It is 18 cars out just in the HBDs. It's quite a lot. It's considering you got 15 GT1 cars and then what is that, only the 10 GT2 cars, so quite a few HBDs.
And a massive gap in these qualifying times as well for the HBDs. Even between first and second, there is over a second gap. So definitely some guys there with some really dominant laps.
Yeah, of course, Tommaso with the 1:32.7, it's a pretty good time. 1.2 seconds back to second spot in Simon, so yeah, I expect Tommaso to sort of clear out from the field pretty early in this race.
This is just looking at this part here with the HBDs as they're coming through this little bit of chicane work there, the S's. It's going to be really scary seeing one of those HBDs catch up to a GT car right about in that spot.
Yeah, and of course that's where they're quickest, especially through the turns, because they use their high downforce, obviously. That's where they're quickest. They're going to catch at a huge rate of knots up through these S's. But all the guys are pretty experienced, I'm sure. They've all done this before. I'm sure it's not their first mixed class race, so fingers crossed they're all going to keep it as clean as possible. Of course, with Virginia, we've got a lot of runoff area, so hopefully, we might just take to the grass and get back on the track. Having a look, we got a full second between first in the GT1 cars and second in the GT1 cars between Florian and Jake Burton. So it's quite a good time there from Florian.
Yeah, definitely a nice big gap there between those ones, between first and second. The GT2 cars actually look all fairly close together, so should be some good racing at the back of the field.
That's where I'm used to racing, at the back of the field. So I've had some of my best racers fighting over 30th spot. So
yeah, it doesn't matter what you're fighting for as long as you're fighting for something.
Quite a long warm-up lap for them. It's probably one of the longest circuits iRacing have, probably apart from Spa and Bathurst.
Yeah, it definitely is a pretty long track to get around. Unless you're in a HBD, then this is probably the slowest you'll ever see him go around this track. 1:32 in the HBD, that's just ridiculous. And considering that's almost a 10-second difference to a GT2 car, it's absolutely amazing.
The HBDs are about to bolt.
Yep,
I noticed their teammates at the front there, so I'm sure they're going to play nicely.
Yeah, Tommaso, good jump there. Both Italian boys.
Of course, the straight here at Virginia is not quite straight. It's got a bit of a bend in it. Some guys find difficult to negotiate sometimes.
Yeah, it's very deceiving, and there's not much.
Tony Autry, sorry to butt in. Tony Autry's down the inside of turn 1 in the GT1 Corvettes. Nice move by Tony Autry to get up in the second spot.
Oh, GT2 guys. Oh, we've had a bit of an incident in GT2. Looks like Saber's just managed to tap. Just have a look and see if we can find who that is. Looks like it's Bob Van Catwick's had a bit of a bump there. Almost took 3 cars out.
As we got Maurizo spun at turn 1, and a couple of cars have got that's nose-to-tail incidents trying to avoid him. Kevin O'Brien, he was involved in that. Kevin O'Brien suffered damage. I'd say he's come into there with no steering. He's gone straight ahead. As we have a look back, as we just predicted, Tommaso, he's got out a huge lead already over Simon, who's got another big lead back to David Chen.
See, these guys have spent a fair bit of time in that HBD and really got this thing dialed in. Tommaso's, that's a dominating lead from off the start.
Yeah, it's a 3.4 second lead over 1 lap. It's pretty impressive stuff. Of course, the battle for 3rd and 4th heating up. We've got David Chen and Kane having a good little battle. Nice little
battle pack happening here as well between Fabio, Reece Gardner and Gavin Barber.
Yeah, one you can't count out of this is Paul Agnew either, sitting back there in 11th. He had a great race last week at Silverstone.
Looks like Tony Autry sitting there with Florian.
Yeah, of course Tony got the job done a lap before in the 2nd spot. I think he's going to find it hard to run with Florian. Florian's qualifying time anyway was quite impressive.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's doing pretty well with that car at the moment. He looks like he knows his way around this track. Jake Burt looks like he's closing up a little bit there on Tony Autry, and he's got Charles Lindy sitting right behind him.
Checking on Kane, Anton and Dean O'Brien, they're all having a good battle.
Oh, Anton's going to have a look on the inside. Oh, Kane's tapped him a little bit. Oh, lucky that didn't end a lot worse. As Anton makes the move. I think that was a little bit of a dive there from Anton as Kane dishes it back.
Third. Oh no.
Dean O'Brien. Oh, an innocent bystander in that little tussle, but there's a whole bunch of...
Dean O'Brien's gone straight ahead and he's hit the wall.
Oh, Reece Gardner as well has managed to get just being tapped there by Fabio. Doesn't do too much damage.
That's a shame for Dean O'Brien there. He was the innocent bystander in all that.
Yeah. So
we'll bring up the race call replay of Dean O'Brien. He just was unlucky. He just out of that damage, he went straight ahead and into the wall.
Already our race leader Tommaso going around GT cars. Just going to look at Stefano. Yeah, our current leader for GT2 in the Ford GT. Looks like he's got himself a nice little gap to Fabio at the moment.
Of course, Stefano come from third on the grid in this class, so he's done well to jump a couple of spots in this early stages of the race.
Dean O'Brien struggling with his car. He's just ran it off the road. Looks like he's got a bit of damage there to his front aero.
Yeah, I'd say he would have suffered a bit. Pretty fragile, the HBD cars. It doesn't take much to upset the aero balance of those cars.
No, definitely not. A little bit of a crimple, and they definitely are a lot harder to drive.
Matthew Burnett's just made a great pass up the inside of John Sullivan at the end of the back straight.
Looks like Dean O'Brien and Bob, and also Ben Miles, all decided to make a pit stop, probably trying to fix some damage on their cars.
Matthew Burnett's having a massive look at Mark Peter Dean into turn one. Thinks better of it, but it's always been served.
Oh!
He's got absolutely served from John Sullivan. Get the race call replay on that. Matthew Burnett was having a look at the inside and he thought better of it, pulled out and then got the hit from behind.
Doesn't seem to be a lot of patience out there on the field. Hopefully these guys settle down a little bit and get this racing clean. You've really got to think about your move before you make it at this track.
Exactly. We've got 38 minutes to go. It's only 7 minutes old, this race.
Seen a lot of our GT2 cars drop out. And a couple of our GT1 boys as well. Our HBDs, sorry. As Tommaso just barreling down that HBD. There's around a few more of the GT cars. Look at it.
We'll jump on board and go for a lap with Tommaso and just see how he negotiates the traffic around VIR. Just bear in mind while you're watching the lap how skinny the track is. There's not really much room.
If you're going to get the job done, it's usually on the straight, not much room in the corners to really put the car in. Watching him there, you can see that he's making his way around the cars instead of the other cars getting out of the way for him, which is the way that it should be done. It's obviously experienced in this thing. It's in a fair few races, I'd say.
He's timed that perfectly to get past Nathan Groudon and Bruce Carvalho. I think I pronounced that right.
Nice little battle happening back to third between David Chen and Anton as well.
Yeah, these two have been at it since the start of the race. They haven't let each other go.
It's one of the GT cars have a little bit of a moment. Oh! David Chen's got a little bit wide, managed to regain himself. As they battle it out over the corner. Anton backs out. Very aggressive there, re-entering the track with David Chen. Looks like something's happened to Reese Gardner. See if we can pull that up.
I don't have him on my monitor actually. Yeah, he's gone to the pits and just parked it. Unless he was carrying damage from the start of the race and just proved too much from him.
It's very, very easy to do in this HPD. Just that little bump, you disturb your rear or your front, and it just becomes a whole different car to drive.
I got Bronislav rejoining the track at turn 1. Just had a little moment.
Let's have a quick look at Leo's. Might have a bit of a slowdown. Great job there in the Corvette, trying to get the most out of it. Currently sitting in 6th for class, I do believe. Jake Burton still sitting with Tony Orchridge though. Not letting him get too far away. It looks like Florian has really pulled out a gap in this Corvette.
Speaking of gaps, Tomaso's out to a 10.5 second lead over his teammate Simon at the moment, who's another 6 seconds in front of Anton, who's got into 3rd spot.
Yes, something definitely has happened to David Chen. He's completely dropped off the field.
I tell you what, who's Snoo Guven? His car is demolished. He's made it back to pit lane. I don't think it's got a panel left on it. He's coming down the main straight. I don't know if we can get a replay of this. Oh, he was making his way around.
Oh, race recall replay for that one.
I should have laughed. Oh. Someone could have been injured.
That's a big hit from the GT car.
He's gone flying 100 metres through the air.
It's like Fabio, Milani, Steve and Jeremy Washington in a nice little battle here. This is for 7th and 8th in class. Jeremy Washington. It's really, I find with the HPD, it's been a while since I've been, it's easy to find your rhythm sitting behind someone. Really easy just to kind of go, yep, just follow their braking markers. But when you pull it out by yourself, it's really a lot more difficult doing solo laps.
Jeremy Washington didn't want to sit behind Fabio too long. He's made the pass going up into the S's. Got it done nice and cleanly too, Jeremy did. He sets his eyes on Steve Honan now. Another car impressed again is Paul Agnew. I think he's up to 4th now in the HBD cars.
Yeah, consistency is going to be the key here, plus he can bank some points while Anthony Kernich is not out there to grab him. So
yeah, I was surprised Anthony didn't turn up. I thought he would have been keen to race this one after last week's race.
Yeah, he definitely would have had some stiff competition out there. Tomaso very, very dominating in that
I was going to say, he might have known Tomaso was driving.
Looks like Juka's got a move done on Leo Gray. A little bit look further back for 8th and 9th. There's TJ Brown and Ben Darley fight it out in the HBD. Good to see Craig Dorr out there again in the HBD, giving it a run.
Yeah, it's a car that Craig enjoys driving. You got to be in it to win it, that's for sure. This battle between Ben Darley and TJ Brown, it's been raging since the opening laps. Ben Darley's not letting him get away.
I think these guys are starting to reel in Jeremy Washington as well.
Just having a look in the HBDs, we have got 7 retirements so far. It's huge. Out of 18 car field, 7 of them have already retired.
Yeah, massive loss there on some of those. Some guys that we've seen over the last few weeks, like Reece Gardner. Unfortunate to see him out. Dean O'Brien as well.
When we go back to the GT2 cars, we've got 5 retirements there.
Out of 10, half the field gone for GT2.
And of course Dwayne Burns down 3 laps after fixing his damage, so we've only got 4 cars on the lead lap out of the GT2 cars.
Might have a few of these retirements might have been worth fixing your car and getting it back out there, get some points in.
Yeah, definitely. Battle between Ben Darley and TJ Brown. Ben's got the move done, so they've been negotiating traffic.
Florian Donata. He's really opened up this gap between himself and Tony Ortridge. Kind of running his own little race at the moment.
Got a 9-second lead at the moment.
This is where it's going to get interesting though. Tony Ortridge and Jake Burton.
And Charles NG too. He's in the mix.
I think Charles NG just got around Jake Burton then.
Yeah, he has. He's got around Jake and he's hunting down Tony.
It looks like Bruce is coming as well. I think something happened to Jake Burton. Does he have the same speed as he had before?
He was held up a little bit. Bruce is lap down, I think. But Matthew Burnett gone into the pits. Yeah, I don't think there is a need for pit stops in this race, so Matthew Burnett may have had some other issues. Just checking with our GT2 leader.
Yeah, Stefano, a great little run from him.
Yeah, no, he's doing well. He's got our second lead over Fabio Gonzalez. Just keeping the pace with him.
Who's going to try and make a move there on that HBD in front of him? So we'll have a ride along here with Fabio.
Yeah, just in that last half a lap, Fabio seems to have gained quite a bit of time on Stefano.
I think Stefano lost a bit of momentum with that HBD, and especially in the section of the track where he's lost it, where it's a very high speed section. It's very easy for the guy behind to make up some time. Very strong on the brakes there, Fabio.
Fabio's no stranger to the v8sonline broadcast. He was always a strong runner in the Grand Am on the Thursday nights.
Yeah, definitely was. He was a familiar face around there. Oh, Stefano makes a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, he'd be well too. He'd know all about Fabio sitting right behind him there. Sometimes the pressure can get to these guys.
Yeah, very, very easy to do, especially when you've been out in the front quite comfortable for a while.
Yeah, he did. He opened up quite a good gap at the start of the race, but it's been brought back now, as you can see on screen.
Fabio's starting to get a bit more aggressive. Oh, as these guys head up as well. Tony Orchard and Charles NG. Fantastic little battle.
Yeah, these two got very well acquainted last week at Silverstone from memory. Had a good battle all race long pretty much. We'll shoot through some gains and losses for you in the prototypes. The top two haven't moved. Some of the big movers we'll go through first. Paul Agnew, he's gone up 8 spots from 12th up to 4. Ben Daly up 11 spots. Good gain from Ben Daly. TJ Brown up 8 spots as well, and Gavin Barber up 6 spots. Of course, the big losers are David Chen, Reece Garden, Ben Miles, Kane and Dean O'Brien. They're all the guys that are retired so far. As we got the GT1s up, not quite as big a movers in this. John M. Sutherland's up 3 spots, Charles NG's up 2, into 2nd spot for class. And Tim Foltz moved up 2. As we go back on track, Tony Orchard has let Charles NG through, so Charles NG up 3 spots.
Yeah, just going to have a quick look back on my camera, see if I can find where it's happened. Through the roller coaster there, it looks like Charles NG's managed to get around him.
Yeah, he definitely used the draft to his advantage there, Charles.
So the GT2 boys still really close here between Stefano and Fabio.
About halfway through this race, and Fabio is all crossed up under brakes. He just could not get it stopped at turn 1. That was avoiding action, not to take out Fabio, I think.
Yeah, Fabio there trying to give direction to the HBD driver on which way to go, and I think it got a little bit confusing there, and Fabio ended up making a mistake.
Yeah, Zach, that was Craig Dorr in the HBD. Just got past Stefano now.
Look at Florian, current GT1 leader. A nice little lead. Back to Charles NG in 2nd.
Well, have a look at Tommaso, our race leader. He's got a huge lead at the moment. Have a look, it's out to around 16, 17 seconds.
Yeah, definitely a dominating lead. Fantastic racing there.
have a look at Paul Agnew and Anton. They're still battling for their last spot on the podium.
Jason Scully having a bit of an issue there with his Corvette and almost hit Leo Gray.
Yes. Jason Scully seems to be having some internet dramas as well at the moment.
As he just runs wide there. Yeah, he's blinking pretty bad.
Here reports of Andrew Wren's having a dramas down at the Oak Tree. Because the big old oak tree going leading onto the back straight's gone now, in real life anyway.
Yeah, it's a little bit sad for it to be gone. I remember there was a fair bit of talk about it when it happened, so yeah, a little bit disappointing.
Well, we've got Tony Orchard all over the back of Charles NG now as they come around the oak tree. It's the GT car of Dwayne Burns held him up a little bit. It's allowed Tony to range right up on the back of Charles.
It's a nice little run here. Gets the draft coming down that straight. Oh, there's the shuffle for space behind them. Yeah, Tony Orchard's really starting to dial it in there.
Jake Burton is the guy catching these two in front.
Simone in the HBD just behind. Gives him plenty of room to get around. Look at that HBD, the difference as it comes in under brakes into that corner.
Yeah, so definitely the car with the high downforce. It can turn in, it can brake well. Of course, these Corvettes aren't too far off them with actual horsepower.
Yeah, these Corvettes down the straights are a bit harder for the HBD to get around them, but through these corners is where the HBD does all the damage.
You can see Simone, he's just buying his time there, he's doing a patient job. That's what we're talking about at the top of the telecast as he makes his way past Tony Ortridge.
That's right. Fastest car needs to find the safest way around.
You can see we're looking at Simone here and Charles, he's gone off the track. We're just saying that Charles, about to say that Charles is struggling with his car a little bit and he runs wide at the oak tree. And Jake Burton should get him on the run up the hill here.
Yeah, Jake Burton. Good run there from Jake.
He's got position. They go side by side at 250 kilometres an hour.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to pull this up.
Oh,
just manages to get that in.
Well done, Jake. He had everything crossed up on the entry to that corner then.
Yeah, I thought Charles was going to try and sneak that in underneath, but it's a great job to get that under control. It's TJ Brown visits a wall. Oh, it's a big hit. Well, get up the race recall replay. What a damage there.
He visited the wall, right? I think he might be staying permanently.
Yeah, he definitely drove it in, didn't he?
Yeah, he just wasn't quite patient enough to get around the Corvette and wait. I mean, the straight was only 2 turns away, and it's wrecked his race for him.
This looks like Simone. He's got a bit of damage. He's in pits at the moment. Just going to see if we can pull that up on the race recall replay. Oh, he's really struggling.
That's a shame. That's the guy that was coming second outright in this race. He's just he's locked the rear. He's got it a little bit sideways in turn 1 and got collected by Not sure who that was. Was it Fabio Gonzalez in the GT2 car?
He'd be disappointed after such a fantastic effort. That moves Paul Agnew into second and Anton into third. So now these guys are going to be battling for podiums between Anton and Gavin Barber.
Yeah, as Paul Agnew continues his climb up the result sheet. Another guy climbing the result sheets, Andrew Wren in the GT2 class. He's up to second spot.
Now a 36-second lead between first and second in these HBDs. So we come into the final 15. Fabio's struggling with a little bit of damage there as Craig Dorr makes his way around. Got a good Italian presence out here tonight.
Yeah, we have. We've certainly got an international flavour to the race, which is good.
It's good to see these guys out here. Obviously, multi-class racing a lot bigger in Europe and America than it is here in Australia. So these guys have probably put a lot more effort into this and have been racing these series for a while now. So.
Oh, I just got to butt in. We got Stefano. Jake Burton is running in the back of Stefano at the Oak Tree. And Anton's been caught in that too. So 3 different class of cars all in the same accident.
It gets very tricky when you start tripping over each other.
This could have a big effect on the results. With Stefano, he was leading by 21 seconds over Andrew Wren, and he may have got damage out of it.
Look over Stefano's car now. I can't see too much damage on it. It could still be something on there. Doesn't seem to be struggling too much with it. Anton's probably the big loser out of this one. Obviously, any little shunt on that HBD and you know about it.
I think Jake Burton's got damage. He just come off at the end of the back straight again.
Yeah, it's a big scrape down the side of his car. Looks like it's been pushed in a bit. And again, these guys still have a massive... Yeah, all the side of his car's been pushed in.
And as Anton escapes from the race, so a podium spot goes begging for Anton.
Obviously, these GT1 cars have a massive aero package on them as well, and a bit of damage to them really affects the way that they navigate these corners. Definitely not the rubbing is racing kind of car.
No, definitely not. As we have a look now, second and third in this race is Paul Agnew, Gavin Barber. Paul Agnew's moved up 10 spots from his grid spot, and Gavin Barber up 8. It just proves solid, clean, consistent laps, and you can really move your way up in this field.
Yeah, it's a conversation we seem to have every week about multi-class racing. As Juka makes his way around Jake. Oh, it's a bit close. Consistency and patience seems to be the key into getting a solid result. Juka definitely has the speed, just doesn't seem to be able to get around him. Jake's quite defensive. Have a look at Tony Autridge, currently sitting second in the Corvette. A nice little gap at the moment between him and Charles.
Yeah, of course, Florian has cleared out. He's on a 22-second lead over Tony at the moment, so Tony's making sure he's going to consolidate second spot.
Tommaso opening it up to 50 seconds now, the gap between first and second. This battle here with the Corvettes for what is fourth place between Azuka and Jake is still going on. Azuka gets a good run. Azuka's going to get this done.
He has. Jake's got the inside line, but no, he gets it done before the braking area.
Yeah, so got a 4 GT to contend with. Azuka goes a bit
Azuka's
wide,
gone
hits
wide.
the grass.
And Jake's back through.
He's got a HBD. Oh. Whoa.
Oh, Juka's pulled it over.
Thought better to stop and get control of the car. Very aggressive few laps there from Juka as he was trying to get around him. Made a few mistakes. Knew he had the speed, just really not patient enough to get that spot.
Andrew Wren has got past Fabio Gonzalez. Fabio's been catching back up to Andrew Wren after he had that accident at turn 1. With only 9 minutes left in this race, Andrew Wren will be praying to hold on from Fabio.
Looking at so far, it looks like we're going to get international dominance at Virginia, with all leaders for first place positions in all classes being international drivers. Fifth and sixth here in prototypes as we have a look at Ben Daly and Jeremy Washington.
Because these two haven't been separated by much for most of the race.
If you want positions now, this is the way to get it done. But if you're looking at a championship, you're probably best to be a bit conservative about this, because a lot of these guys would have already made up a lot of positions with the amount of DNS we've had.
I should just mention too, it may look a little bit dark on the telecast tonight. That got a pretty overcast sort of track, and it's only 22 degrees Celsius tonight, so quite cool out there for the drivers, as Ben Daly has a big moment at turn 1. Nearly got collected by Tim Foltz in the Corvette there.
Now it looks like it's Jeremy's turn to make his way around Tim.
Yeah, you'll want to get around pretty quick. You wouldn't want to get held up and lose touch with Ben too quickly.
Can definitely see him losing time here as they go through the S's.
He negotiates Tim Foltz. Jake Burton's about to, with all that damage he's received, he's about to lap Tim Foltz. He obviously doesn't have the pressure that he was having a couple of laps ago, and he's able to put the head down and try and get this Corvette to the finish line.
Yeah, fantastic job from him to keep that Corvette out there and racing and competitively as well.
Well, his last lap around was 1:45, which is 2 seconds quicker than Tim Foltz, who's in front of him at the moment, on track.
Well, coming into next week, once we move to Interlagos, I think we're going to probably have a fairly good grid. I'm definitely looking forward to that, and I reckon we'll see a lot of usuals out there for that one.
Yeah, Interlagos is is the driver's sort of favourite track. A lot of people enjoy it, so I'm really looking forward to it. I know they've been driving the V8 there this week. I love that track.
Yeah, it's a fantastic track. Definitely a lot more fun. It'll be something with a bit of downforce on it, as it looks like Tim Foltz has had a bit of an incident back there. Just managed to lock the brakes all by himself, and he's hit the wall. It's on the grass. Just pull up the race recall replay. Easy enough to do. Just tap that wall. Managed to get it back out there. So one of those things about Virginia, there's although there's a lot of grass, one little tyre off into that grass, and you'll just keep going and going into one of those walls.
With just under 5 minutes to go, Duca is really catching up to Jake Burton. He's really winding that gap down.
Yeah, Duca definitely has the pace over Jake. We saw it before. Just really quite aggressive, trying to get around him, which led to his undoing.
Last lap around, of course, Jake was held up a little by Tim Foltz, but 3 seconds quicker Duca was.
A quick look at Florian, our current class leader for the Corvette. Dominating Raceway and hasn't really had too much trouble from anyone. Doing a great job to keep himself clean. As Andrew Wren and Fabio have a nice little battle.
Yeah, Andrew Wren's managing to keep Fabio back there. I'm barracking for Andrew in this one. He's a really nice bloke, Andrew, and well, I'd love to see him out there on the podium.
Yeah.
He's a huge supporter of the v8sonline and everything we do.
Yeah, it's great to see our supporters out there, and it's good to open a different series that the guys that were watching the V8 Supercars can come over and have a bit of fun in as well. So yeah, it's good to see some of these guys out there. See a lot of guys out there, not the biggest fan of the V8 Supercar, love watching it, hate racing it.
Yeah.
Duca, it's in the pits. It looks like he's had a bit of damage. He's going to be devastated. See if we can pull that up on the race recall replay. It looks like he's trying to go forest there. Yeah, he's going for a bit of a camp.
He's caught at the back of Jake Burton, and looks like he's pushed it too quickly again, and he's caught the back of
Oh, that's a big hit on Timothy.
Yeah.
Massive shunt. Timothy's gone absolutely flying.
Timothy's moved out of the way because he was a lap down, and Duca, not realising that he was going to slow down and let him pass, has just rammed in the back of it real hard. Again,
it's one of those things where patience is a virtue when it comes to multi-class racing, and even in any kind of situation, it's just bad. Big hit. That would probably have to be our biggest hit for the night so far.
Yeah, old matey went over the fence doing barrel rolls. That one was pretty big.
Oh yeah, we'll win that one. Two big hits.
Two big hits. As we're having a great battle here between Andrew Wren and Fabio Gonzalez. Oh, as Andrew Wren's out on the dirt. Taking a few corners for Fabio to get that job done.
Oh.
Don't discount Andrew here. 3 laps ago he set his fastest lap of the race in a 49 flat, so one little mistake here from Fabio and Andrew will be back in it.
As Paul makes his way around in the HBD. Fantastic drive from Paul, currently sitting second in the HBD class.
Well, Kieran Tommaso's the race leader, has taken the white flag, so one more lap. ...61 seconds. This is more than a minute. It's that's or domination. There's no other word for it.
Yeah, that is brutal. That is absolutely brutal. A few more laps, and he probably would have been the only car on the lead lap.
Comes up to Oak Tree. We'll stick with him for the last half of this lap. Going to negotiate Mark Peter Dean soon.
Just a fantastic drive there from Tommaso. So like everything he's done has been absolutely perfect. Made sure he caught up to the cars at the right time to get around them.
Yeah, he's definitely had that patience that we spoke about, being able to buy a time and know when to make the move done, as he comes down now and takes the checkered flag.
Yeah, great job there from Tommaso. Absolutely dominating lead, just over a minute, the final gap between him and Paul Agnew.
We check out Stefano. He's on the back straight. He's the leader of the GT2 cars. Done a very good job. He had quite a bit of pressure midway through the race and was able to maintain a clean car. And while he heads towards the finish line, Andrew Wren's still trying to apply the blowtorch to the back of Fabio Gonzalez in the GT2 cars.
Yeah, great battle here between these two. Fabio looks like he's probably got enough room there to make sure that he gets his second place. But Andrew Wren's done a fantastic job. Florian makes his way to the checkered flag.
Yeah, takes out the win for the Corvettes in the GT1 class. All the other cars start filing across the finish line. Well, that race certainly had a bit of everything. It had dominance, you had carnage, it had a lot of people not being able to finish the race.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of mixed racing there. Some guys there showing some real class there in multi-class racing. And definitely a few of these international guys showing the New Zealand guys how it's done. I'm pretty sure that we had an international guy win every single class tonight. So yeah, definitely, and all of them had a dominating race. So definitely a bit of a humble experience as we just have a quick look over the prototypes. Tommaso absolutely dominated prototypes tonight, over a minute the gap between him and his closest competitor. Paul Agnew will be very happy with his result, probably the biggest gain of the night as well, managing to pull it up into second, and again just using patience and common sense to make sure that he finishes tonight. Gavin Barber in third, Steve Hoonan fourth, Ben Darley fifth, Jeremy Washington sixth, Craig Dorr seventh. So great job there from Craig Dorr, and again patience being the key to his success tonight. Eighth for Fabio, ninth for TJ Brown, and I think the rest we've got DNFs.
Yeah, they were, unfortunately. I think we're going to get the GT1 class results up on screen. We got Florian, another international, who ran away with the win there from Tony Autridge and Charles NG, which these two had their good battle throughout the race. Jake Burton still managed to come home fourth even after his dramas. And Leo Gray in fifth, Mark Peter Dean and Bronislav Robinek in sixth and seventh. Tim Foltz in eighth, who was the last of the finishers, I think, with Duca, Timothy Ballinger, Jason Scandallara, Bruce DiCarlo, John M. Sutherland, Jason Scully, and Matthew Burnett not finishing the race.
Yeah, and as for the Ford GTs, obviously only 10 taken to the grid tonight, but not many finishers in this group at all. Stefano, another international, very dominating there in the Ford GT. We saw a great battle there between Fabio for second and Andrew Wren in third, Nathan Grouden fourth, I think Dwayne Burns fifth. And then from there, the rest were DNS with Saba being Bob Van Catwick, Maurizio, Matt Emanuel, and Kevin, all DNFs.
I love having the internationals in the race, so it adds another flavour, but certainly makes our job hard, Daniel.
Oh, it certainly does. We need phonetics or something. Just for some of these names. But yeah, it's definitely great to see them out there. A lot of lessons to be learnt tonight about patience. A lot of guys could probably have a look at Tommaso's race and just study how he went about getting around such a tight track to make sure that he maintained that lead and also kept himself out of trouble.
Yeah, he definitely showed the rest of them how it was done tonight.
Well, I think we can just about wrap it up for tonight. Actually, nearly every single race now to the end of the season is going to be at absolutely brilliant tracks. Going to a favourite for nearly everyone next week will be at Interlagos. Very excited about that one. Hopefully, we'll see some of our regulars back. And I'm just getting about our Christmas break.
I think it's Mid-Ohio and Road America we're going to miss out on over Christmas.
Oh, that's a little bit disappointing, isn't it? I love Road America, but that's okay. That's okay. We've got to take a break for Christmas and do the family thing and drink and be merry. So
That's it.
we can't get in the way of that. But yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to Interlagos next week and actually Interlagos tomorrow for the V8 Supercars.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Like I mentioned, I love that track, and yeah, tomorrow night we've got a big wrap up from Interlagos and the V8s. We've got the hot lap, we've got qualifying and the race, so make sure you tune into that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Daniel Bryant. Thanks for spending the night with me, Brooksy.
Anytime, mate.
Thanks. And I'll see you next week for Interlagos.